Hello, people. I don't really have many things to do today besides drinking this water. But I would like to react to this video of Nick Fuentes from Rumble now. Here, let me show you. So, Piers says Piers Morgan is a literal C-U-C-K. So I don't really need to explain more of that. I just find the concept funny. I have seen some of the stuff, so I know it's pretty funny. So I don't know, it's just really interesting. So let's just head into it, right?
As a virgin, then I had sex with Piers Morgan's wife. My mom died in the Holly. Piers is he's a really monster. I'm not afraid of some ignorant black. Thanks, Mr. K. I don't know what to do about my girlfriend. She's crazy. And we should all die, right? I love powerful women. Do you faggots like that? How dare you? Idiots. At least we don't have school shootings. Giant black guy in a Speedo washing her car. You guys are seriously retarded. First of all, I'm rich. What about school shooters? What is wrong with you? Schlepping her fat ass around? This is my city! The battle cry! Boy, bollocks! I don't like these ugly, stupid freaks.
Costanza Grow at percent $20. Thank you for spending the entire Piers interview mogging and clip farming. Clippers working overtime tonight.
Yeah, I had to clip farm it because, you know, what gives his appeal power is when you treat it like it's serious. And what I mean by that is I've seen a lot of people lose against Piers Morgan because they get psyched out and they treat it like they're in a court of law. They're sort of like meek, and Piers is thundering from the dais like he's the judge and the jury and the executioner.
Right.
Giving these moral pronouncements. And I see a lot of people in the interviews sort of shrink away, and they go, oh, okay. And you have to treat it with contempt. He's a tabloid journalist. He's a bad faith, sloppy tabloid journalist. And I don't say that to be, look, I like the guy. I thought it was a good interview. That's just what he is. And so you can't psych yourself out. You're not in a court of law. You're not on the record. You didn't swear an oath. You're not sitting before a judge. You're on a tabloid show. It's a circus. He brings on the biggest idiots, and then they yell and scream at each other. It's like it's a giant free-for-all. They bring on Rabbi Shmuley and some other person, and then they yell at each other for 2 hours while Piers collects the money. Well, Piers collects the advertising. And people go on the show and they go, oh, I didn't mean what I said. Oh, I feel sorry. And so going into it, my strategy was, I have contempt. You have contempt for me. I have contempt for you. I'm not under oath. You're not a judge. This is a tabloid show. This is a joke. So that's where I saw a lot of people go wrong, because I've seen people fail miserably on his show. And
So I just wanted to say I'm not talking too much really because I don't really have much to say at the moment. But I do find it funny that he played it in the very way that these media demons play it, which is that they're insincere as hell.
it was because they kind of gave up the frame, and they're trying to win over Piers. Like I said, like he's the judge. They're pleading with him. You can't plead. It's like, this is a tablet. You don't have moral authority over me. Who are you?
Right. Yeah.
So you turn it into you clip farm. You turn it into a silly thing. You have as much contempt for it as he has for you, and you match the energy.
Problem solved. Sent $25. I am an investment banker. Just heard Paramount launched a hostile takeover to beat Netflix's offer to buy Warner Brothers. Deal is being financed by $54 billion debt from Boe and Apollo, $41 billion equity from the Ellison family, and Jared Kushner's private equity firm is providing further financing.
No
Big
way.
shit going down on Wall Street.
Is that real? I know that that's happening. We'll probably talk about this tomorrow. So Netflix is trying to acquire Warner Brothers, and they're trying to do that because
I had no idea.
Paramount Skydance was trying to acquire Warner Bros. And if Paramount Skydance acquires Warner Bros., then they are like a super conglomerate. Skydance is David Ellison's company. They acquired Paramount, and Larry Ellison owns TikTok. So they would have CBS, Paramount Plus, the Paramount Studio, Skydance, and TikTok all under one roof. I think they also have the rights to stream UFC. They have some other things too. And then they were going to acquire Warner Bros. So Netflix jumped in, and they rushed to get Warner Brothers. Now the Trump administration says we're not going to let it happen. And Paramount Skydance is making this bid that now they want it. And they're going to try to do a hostile takeover. They're going to try and buy all the shares out from under them. I didn't know that's who was financing it, though. So this guy says it's being financed by Bank of America and Apollo, which is Bill Ackman, the Ellisons, and Jared Kushner. That's almost just like beyond parody. That's like World Jewry is buying the media. Breaking news, World Jewry is buying the media. Like Jared Kushner, Bill Ackman, Larry Ellison. Yeah, they've already bought CBS, TikTok, Paramount, Skydance, and now they're buying Warner Brothers too. World Jewry has proposed a bid of $6 billion to buy all media so that no one can criticize Israel.
Thomas Cruise sent $100. By the way, going from not knowing any Jews who play the Holocaust card to literally featuring Finkelstein was crazy. Right. Rose's whole family got slimed out personally by Hitler and Stalin. I couldn't believe my ears.
That was crazy. Yeah. Oh, Jews never they don't use that as a get out of jail free card. Oh, my Jewish friend wants to tell you something. Buy my bloody book. Me mom died in the Holocaust. Buy my book. That was crazy. That was just so, it's like beyond parody. Here's this 80-year-old guy at his kitchen about the Holocaust. Shut the fuck up.
Girthy Grower percent $50.
That's people are getting to that point where it's like, you know what? We've been hearing this song and dance for 40 years. Our country's going into this shit. And you get some smug Jew, smug 80-year-old Jew in his kitchen who's going to say, my parents died in the Holocaust. Get the fuck out of here. We don't care. Enough about Bubby. Bubby escaped. Shut the fuck up. First of all, that happened on another continent in another century. And we welcomed you here as refugees. So how about a thank you? That happened in another continent.
I just find it real funny. He's speaking as if he's a white person. So this is, I find everything else funny, but this is also, I was just thinking about it in my head because I have had a half Mexican lab partner at some point, and he looks just like him. I mean, his features, beside being blonde, is pretty Mexican. You know, he's wide, he's like a barrel. Like, okay, Alejandro, like, you look sort of Mexican, beside, the having a white skin and like a, like a lighter hair. So, I'm just saying, but let's go.
In another century, perpetrated by a government that we fought a war against, and then we welcomed your ungrateful as refugees into our country. So how about some gratitude? Oh, my bubby. Well, you know what? You're fine now. Now you're rich, and now you're all rich. So what are you complaining about? Jews are the most wealthy, powerful ethnic group in America.
That is true.
And that is because they fought for the civil rights legislation to free up all these barriers to entry for them. They become wildly successful. So what are we even talking about now? And I love that with Ben Shapiro. It's always the USS Liberty. Well, that was 50 years ago. The Holocaust? That's still a really big deal. Okay, bro. I see how it is. Who cares who killed JFK? That doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just, I cannot even contain my irritation with that.
Girthy Grower percent $50. How about another joke, Piers? What do you get when you cross me mum with really monster Hitler? You get at least $6 million.
That was awesome. When he says, I don't think he's really cool. He's a really monster. That was like, oh my, I just had to stop. I'm like, do you hear yourself?
And what do you mean by Hitler is very cool? Because I think he's very a monster.
No, he didn't say effing monster. He said effing a monster. So this kind of adds to the funniness of it, in my opinion. He's effing a monster. Is that what it is, Piers?
Okay. And that's a clip. I think he's very a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah,
I mean,
do.
can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow
He
up?
murdered
That
12
is just
million people.
childish. It reminds me of that clip. Remember when, who was it that went on TV and the guy was complaining about the child separation at the border? And the guy said, womp, womp.
I read today about a 10-year-old girl with Down syndrome who was taken from her mother and put in a cage. I read about did you say
Wait,
want?
And the leftoid goes,
Wait, who said that?
how dare you?
Let go back.
How absolutely dare you?
From her mother and put in a cage. I read about
the guy on the left.
did you say want?
And the
No way.
leftoid goes, how dare you? How absolutely dare you? It was like flashbacks.
Down syndrome
What
being
I
taken
said
from
is
her
you can
mother.
pick anything
How
you
dare
want,
you?
but the bottom line
How
is very
dare
clear.
you?
When you
How
cross
absolutely
the border
dare you, sir?
illegally,
Flashbacks.
Man, his head is shining through the camera. The guy, how dare you? It's so funny.
I'm getting like flashbacks.
Down syndrome
what
being
I
taken
said
from
is
her
you can
mother.
Look,
pick
it's the
anything
guy.
you
Dare
want,
you?
but the bottom line is very
His bald head is so shiny. It's so funny. I don't know even what to say, but the whole.
Dare
clear.
you?
When you
How
cross
absolutely
the border
dare you,
illegally,
sir?
Absolutely
Flashbacks.
dare you.
I'm getting notes of Megyn Kelly. All of that interview had the same tempo as like, you've called women you don't like slobs, pigs, dogs. That had the same energy as, it's certainly a good thing that we don't have a president with the temperament like Donald Trump in charge, or whatever the thing was from Hillary Clinton, because you'd be in jail. How dare you? How absolutely dare you? That's like a deep cut. That's from 2018. Remember that? How absolutely dare you? He's really a botster. He's a botster and he incinerated. Shut up, dude.
I mean, he's funny.
How
You gotta
many-
admit,
and he
he's
kept
funny.
Going on and on and on. Like, we get it. Hitler is bad. Thank you.
I think the Piers interview was more consequential than even the Pep interview. You made the message clear and did not back down. Your best interview yet.
That was like the end game. Me and Tucker was like Infinity War, and that was like Endgame. That was like Mortal Kombat, finish him. Because I did Tucker, and what did they say about that? When I did Tucker, everybody said, well, that was a softball. He didn't even ask him any tough questions. It was a love fest. And so Piers said, all right then, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take him down. And then I dropped the hammer. And now no one can say anything. I silenced them all. They're speechless. I shut them the fuck down. Because that's what everybody said. Everybody after Tucker said, oh, well, that was easy. Tucker let him do that because Tucker's evil. Whatever. And then Piers said, I'll give you a proper examination. And then I went in and I was pissing on the walls. I was doing trick shots. I was doing somersaults. So, yeah, so I agree with you.
Up the RA sent $50. But my question for you is, why are you under your admin censoring and muting people in chats asking questions?
I don't moderate the live chat, okay? I love that. You know, you do see me, so you're in the live chat typing during the show that I'm currently doing. If you see me looking at you, I'm not actually looking at you, I'm looking at a camera. And if you see my hands, they're not typing or touching the mouse. So how could I know what is happening in the live chat on the monitor if I'm looking at the camera? How could I be moderating the live chat with a keyboard and mouse if you can see my hands that are empty? So I love when people super chat and they say, what's going on in the chat?
Well, for the chatter's defense, I don't think he might not mean Nick himself, but somebody who's working for Nick, like I don't know, the people who's helping him, I'm guessing that he might have a moderator that is just sitting there doing stuff like that. Now, I don't know if he's censoring any people's comments or not. I'm not sure. But, he is like here, he's just exaggerating, in my opinion. The whole thing is stupid anyway.
Why did I get banned? I don't know. I don't moderate the chat. I'm doing the show. The show you're watching me do. So that's my favorite. Like, I love when people, hey man, why did I get banned in the live chat? I don't know. You're probably being a f***ing idiot like you are right now, would be my guess.
Oh my gosh. Can we get done with
That's just so dumb. That's just so, whoops. That's just so stupid. Hey, I got a question. Why are you censoring and muting people in the chat? But I'm not, though. I'm doing the show.
We got it, Nick.
The chat is live.
We got it.
The show is live. I'm doing the show. I'm not moderating the notes, and then I'm easy. No, but all right.
Oh my gosh, for a guy who does a show like this, he sure like, he complains way too much. I mean, I like him, but sometimes it's really over, man. Jeez.
But that's what you got to admit. That's really dumb.
Slamsons were sent $20. Bro, you really banned me from commenting on your streams. Says
Okay, I
creator
don't
has
want
banned
to
you from
even
commenting. All I commented
see
on the last
the
stream about the whole
comments.
Candace thing was definitely some truth, but I think there are
Just
some
get
questions she's asked in the case that should be answered. Been watching
What is wrong with you? What the hell? I love Mexicans. Gaza. What a coincidence.
Okay, what is this?
She says to Russell Brand, it's all connected. Brigitte Macron, Charlie Kirk, the war in Gaza. What a coincidence that everything you talk about is really all the same thing. You just knew it was going back to Brigitte Macron. So no, it's and nobody wants to say that because everybody is afraid of this hysterical mob. I faced it before. I was right before. I'm right about this. I'll be vindicated. You watch. I'm done arguing about it. I've said what I have to say on it.
Syrian apostate sent $20. You told me to move back to Syria despite leaving Islam, marrying white, and assimilating in the U.S. for 25 years since age 10. But you pander to U.S.-born Muslims who hate America while dismissing us who
Oh my
sacrifice everything
God.
to embrace its culture/ethics. Is this why your base is littered with U.S.-born Islamic extremists?
You just
What did it say? You told me to move back to Australia despite leaving Islam, marrying white, and assimilating in the U.S. for 25 years since age 10, but you pander to U.S.-born Muslims who hate America while dismissing us who everything to embrace its culture, ethics. Is this why our base is littered with U.S.-born Islamist extremists?
need to go home, bro. You're a traitor to your own people. That's what's sad. You're a traitor to your own people, pleading with the white man, saying, please accept me. Please, look,
That's
I'm
a
not
point.
Syrian and Muslim anymore. And it's just sad, and that's why your own people hate you. So you should learn a little lesson, which is always take your own side.
Grow Iberdol sent $20.
Some people, obviously not most people, but some people might watch the interview and say, why didn't you explain what you really meant and why you're not racist and blah, blah, blah? Why wouldn't you give a good faith, reasonable? Why wouldn't you show some give? Why wouldn't you be agreeable, expecting that it would be reciprocated, but it never is? So I said in response, I said, well, I think it's at least 6 million. It might be 10. He thought I was serious. And, a good faith person would say, really? I'm surprised. I thought you said this. Did your position change? Why? Oh, well, that's good to hear. No, but he didn't say that. He said, oh, well, your followers would like to hear. Your followers would like to hear that. Turn it into like now I'm going to humiliate you. Now I'm going to make you look weak. See? Do I have an incentive to moderate? No, I have no incentive to moderate at all. I have no incentive to be in situations like that. People like Piers Morgan, they give me no incentive to moderate. They give me no incentive to act in good faith. They give me no incentive to do any of that because anyone with a brain will go into that interview knowing what it is. And just in terms of the game, you've got to project strength. You've got to project strength. You have to give resistance. There can be no give because a guy like Piers, you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. So, and it's sort of interesting. People like him have created this situation. People like Piers have created this dynamic.
100% agree.
Because
I have literally made a video saying almost this exact same thing without me watching Nick saying it. So it was like original. But yeah.
this is sort of what we deserve. I think it was with Tommy G about Trump. A lot of people say, well, Trump is dishonest. And people say Trump is and Trump is a sociopath or whatever. It's like, but Trump is what we get when the media does nothing but lie. When the media acts in bad faith and they're merciless and they just try to cut you no matter what, you get somebody that is irrationally self-confident. You get somebody that almost is contemptuously dishonest because that's what it demands. That's the only type of person that can survive. In an environment where it's 1,000 Piers Morgans and you're fighting for your life and there's no room to express uncertainty. I'll give you an example. If Trump expresses uncertainty, if he says, oh, I don't know that, do you think people are going to say, wow, he admits when he doesn't know something, how humble? No, they're going to say, he's an idiot. He shouldn't be president. You see, so you can never say, I don't know. And if you say, oh, I changed my mind, are they going to say, oh, wow, That's so honest. He's admitting that he changed his mind upon learning new information. He's not an ideologue. That's really good.
I am learning a lot here, honestly, because, boomers, they gaslight you right and left. You don't know what's going on. And so you grow up, you don't know what is what. Because on one hand, people say, oh, you got to admit honesty and you got to admit fault. And you got to be honest. And then on the other hand, just as he said, they punish that. So it's gaslighting from the top to the bottom. So him saying it just confirms what the reality is, that they're lying. And you cannot project any sort of weakness or not being sure or anything. You have to project confidence, basically. And so you cannot back down. So I really love this piece of him saying that. I appreciate him coming out and saying it in the open, because a lot of people, they would not even say that to the open.
No, they're going to say he's flip-flopping. You see? So it is that type of media. It's Piers Morgan. People like him, they condition a class of people that are contemptuous. That's really what it is. It's contemptuousness. That's the only way to win with Piers Morgan. If you go on Piers Morgan's show and you're honest, if you're like good faith, if you really are thoughtful in your responses, is he going to be patient, charitable? Is he going to be good faith in any way? Absolutely not. That's not his job. So the only way to survive is to have contempt for the process. And it makes it in some ways unproductive. Like nothing was really learned. There wasn't a ton of new information. It was all polemical. Like compare that interview to other interviews I've done. Other interviews are way more informative. They're more informative. They're more thoughtful. They're more insightful. This interview wasn't really informative. It wasn't really insightful. It was polemical because it was a guy trying to do a gotcha and another guy trying to outfox the other guy. And so it's sort of a very self-conscious political game of posturing and maneuvering. It was like a chess match. I don't think that's a public service, actually. I don't think that's best for the public interest. And it's interesting. People said that's the most entertaining. I had to make it entertaining because if it wasn't entertaining, it would be a shame festival. There'd be a tone of negativity. It would be a lecture. You should feel sorry. You should feel bad. See, you're a bad person and you should be embarrassed. And the tone would be like, oh. So I had to flip it and say, this isn't serious. This is a joke. And people laugh. This is entertaining. I got some chuckles out of it. And this is the media that we've created. And it's very Trumpian in that way. That's what Trump has done to the media. How did Trump defeat that? He made it a joke. How did Trump defeat Megyn Kelly? Made it a joke. How did Trump defeat the MSM? Made it a joke. He was more of a than they were. He was more contemptuous than they were. He had more disregard than they did. I don't know. That's not healthy. That's not good, actually, on a grand scale. So, yeah. People like Piers Morgan, they've created such a toxic environment. And maybe that's a boomer thing. Maybe that's a legacy media thing. I feel
this is pretty much a boomer thing. Like coming from experience, I traveled to so many countries. I've traveled to a lot of places. I've seen a lot of boomers. It is a boomer thing. It is 100% a boomer thing. If you were a kid and your parents be like, when we were younger, when we were your age, we had it pretty hard, blah, blah, blah. That gaslighting thing where they tell you to be one way and then punish you for it, it is 100% a boomer thing and a woman thing at that. Because boomers are more feminine. All boomers, men and women, are more feminine. They're snaky. They're lying. They don't know what they want. And this is a one factor of how they messed up the next generation. I'm just saying.
Like the younger generation, because it's all independent media, it's younger guys that are more curious. A guy like Bradley Martin is just curious. A guy like Jack Neal, these are just two young guys that they like my clips. They're curious about my ideas. They don't agree with everything I say. As a matter of fact, they're skeptical of a lot of things that I say, but they just want to hear what I mean. And they're not there to take the piss and enforce and reaffirm the state morality. They want to understand what I'm saying. They want the information that I have, and they want to make up their minds. And so it's interesting the kind of diversity you get from these different interviews. And people say, oh, this is my favorite one. You haven't done an interview like that yet. It's because I've never encountered legacy media, but that's what legacy media is. It's toxic. They say I'm toxic. I'm not. I'm a performer. I'm entertaining. I'm funny. But I am good faith. I am earnest. And these other people, they're not in the business of giving people information. They're not in the business of enlightening people, raising consciousness.
My guy. So this is the moment that I say that this is what I like him for. I like people who are honest. I'm trying to be honest. I'm as authentic as could be. And yeah, no, this is why we like Nick. It's not necessarily because, all of his views, but he's an authentic. He's real. He means what he says. To a big part, I'm not going to trust somebody 100%, but so far, he looks like a guy who means what he says for the most part. He's telling us some stuff, so, like the stuff that he said about all the gaslighting. This is the first time somebody says it in the open. I have always thought that. I've always had these kind of doubts about that, but this is the first time I see it in the open. Or see it being said in the open. So, this is a point for him. It counts for him.
They're in the business of affirming and reinforcing normative ideas, normative ways of thinking. That's what they're there to do. Through shame, through public humiliation. That's what it is.
Funky Dog Nut sent $20. Nick, you were a tower in front of Piers. He had nothing when he realized his fact checkers gave him biased info. He himself had nothing. You alienated Piers Morgan. Gen X heirs. Red heart emoji. Fuentes.
Thank you for the big super chat. The researchers thought they had me too. One of the producers said something really like Reddit, and I'm not even going to repeat it because I don't do that in general, but one of the producers said something so cringe, like he was smug before the interview started. He's like, the implication was like, oh, we got your number, pal. And I'm like, bring it on.
What does that do with anything?
They thought they had me. It was,
It had him in what?
They underestimate me.
Underestimate what?
We love defeating those people, don't we? Yeah, I love when they underestimate.
Mikhail.
What is he even talking about? I thought that we already got done with the reviews or whatever, like the comments. Is this all comments or what? Does he change his clothes along the way? What the hell? Okay, I guess let's keep let's keep watching.
The coffin sent $20. Piers, he's very monster. Morgan had me dead limau, by the way. Got my blue hat today. 11 tenths quality, happy to represent.
Let's go, glad. Yeah.
Monster Morgan had me dead.
It's made in America. Made in America. High quality. Made in America is so hard, though. Liberals were right about everything. Made in America, it's like, dude, to make these hats, it is such a pain in the ass. It costs so much money. If we got these hats made in China, we would have them, dude. We'd have 6 million hats in the warehouse ready to go. You can get anything from China, anything, and it's cheap. And they do it like it's their job. In America, good luck getting anything done. You do it in America, good luck, man. I mean, if I told you some of the stuff we've had to go through with these hats, you just wouldn't even believe it. So liberals write about let's make them in America. And then there's all these problems and it costs $1 billion, but they are high quality. So I'm glad that you like it.
Wait, $20. Piers made himself out to be a retard for the sake of the argument. The per capita thing, making fun of an unmarried Christian for not having sex, women priests, lol, etc. Or maybe he really is dumb.
Per capita, dude, that was brutal. How do you not know that? It's 2025 and he's like, but white people commit crime too. Like, come on.
The British accent gets me.
What about school shooters? What about white school shooters? Okay, what is this, 2012? Did I just get out of a time machine? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious, man. At least we don't have school shootings in London. At least we don't. Yeah.
NW Illinois farmer sent $250. We all laughed at the dog whistle that more Jews died in the Holocaust. Smiley face emoji.
You like that? I was like, well, it's increasing all the time.
I didn't hate it, but I thought that you were moderating a little too much on Catholic dictatorship and capital punishment. Keep pushing the Overton window like you did with Piers. Thank you and may God bless you.
I don't support capital punishment. I thought you were moderating a little too much. Okay, well, off.
Rosencrantz 22 sent $20. Really glad you got to sit down with Maimonides Morgan and Rabbi Finkelstein and do your book report on how it was 6 or 7 million. Really captivating stuff.
Yeah, it was one of those. I like you caught that.
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many Jewish people?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 7
7,
million.
6.
What's the number?
6,
7,
7.
6 million, something like that.
So you
8 million? Yeah, it was like 7 or 6 million. It was like, I think it was like 6, maybe 7 million, possibly more. Possibly, we're discovering all the time.
Possibly even
so
more.
it could maybe even be more than that.
so why
Upwards
have
of
you
10.
why
Lane Roy, percent $25.
They're just
You
not
know me, Jack, like the Piers
ready.
interview,
They're not
W/0/.
ready for this. Like no one prepared them for this.
Sagulazonga sent $20. Stupid British cuck thought he could come after someone's father who grew up in Chicago. You got a better chance that Mrs. Traditional joins the piggy in Ireland. Crying face emoji. Stay blessed, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm from Chicago. They keep from Chicago. We're built different out here. We are built different out here. This is my city. This is Chicago. You can't play with the young nigga from Chicago ever. Haven't you learned? Kanye West, the Pope, me, King Von, Chief Keef, Richard Hanania. That is true, though. This city, this is a real city. This is a city of big shoulders.
He's sort of like a big kid, if you know what I'm talking about. He's like, he's having fun, you know. I'm sort of jealous a little bit, not in a bad way, but you know, kind of wish that I got the chance to kind of keep my, you know, child spirit with me, and you know, be able to be myself more and stuff. But unfortunately, you know, when you work in the factory for about 5, 6, 7 years, it beats the life out of you. All right, so I don't know. I'm getting a little bit tired, so let's go a little bit further and then stop it at some point.
What is even the expression? I think that's the expression. No, but that's very real. They're just straight up not ready for Chicago's finest.
Yeah, let's try and read the comments. Maybe my mom died in the holly. Mate, I'm no fan of yours, no hate, but you effing schooled Piers. It was embarrassing. Yeah, no, I agree. Morgan's an insult to all men. I just want to get to the point where they talk about that, or they show that. Here, let's try. Let's try to go here.
Sent $20. Hey Nick, I'm Catholic and recently Mass at the church I've been going to has gotten less reverent. People talking and moving. Should I go to a reverend parish? I feel like I'm giving up on my parish and I worry about other parishes becoming less reverent. Should I just mind my business and go to a reverend Mass? Thanks, bro.
People are moving around. Mother of pearl.
Jacket Frog sent $20. Nick, I've been following you for a while now.
I know I'm not Catholic. I don't know what it is about.
I really thought you'd be the voice of my generation. Unfortunately for you, Danny Finkelstein really touched me with his story and I can't support it anymore.
With his powerful story. I love that he said that powerful statement. It's like powerful. The guy's like crying about Hitler and Stalin, and we're supposed to be like, wow, that was so deep. Now I want to give up my country to immigrants now because that was
Rape
so
JD
powerful.
sent $20. Can you please stop calling the Roman Empire awesome? 2,700 years ago, Romulus and Remus ate my ancestor, his wife, his son's wife, and his horse, and so I've written 271,000 books about how it has defined my entire existence.
Ugh, yeesh. Ugh, yikes, dude. Let's just leave the funny to me, okay? You leave the funny to me. I'll handle it as I do. So what the f is that? I want my plaque. I'm Hall of Fame. I want my LaGrange Country Club award ceremony. It's overdue at this point. So no, I'm with you. Western Springs. We're all gonna wear maroon t-shirts. Hey, stop talking. Stop talking. Thank you. I'm talking. So on the day of the assassination, we're all gonna wear.
All right. Let's try and move it a little bit more. Man, when is the thing
In
gonna?
South Vietnam were run by women, or that the
Our friend society or female dominant culture will collapse. Do you really think that the free love generation will ever admit that over 60% of businesses in South
men spend
Vietnam
nearly half of all their money
was run by women?
on
Or
the
that
black
men
market?
spend nearly half of
Follow the money.
all of their money on the
Dominoes will
black
fall.
market?
God bless.
It's a good point. Well, and I didn't even know that Piers Morgan was such a cuck. That explains everything. Since the Piers Morgan interview, we found his wife's Instagram.
Right
it's
here.
the most
Jackpot.
humiliating thing I've ever seen. Piers Morgan's wife, I kid you not, she's on Instagram repeatedly posting with other men and insinuating that she's having sex with them.
I seen it.
Wurzelroot posted it on Twitter. She says something like, when my husband is away, Mr. Suds comes out to play, and it's a picture of a giant black guy in a Speedo washing her car. There's another one. She's taking a picture pointing at a guy's dick and implying she's going to suck the guy's dick. That's two. That's two of the There's a news story that said she went on a 6-week sabbatical from her marriage with Piers to go have sex with other men. He joins her on a talk show on television with rubber gloves saying, honey, I just finished my chores. I love powerful women. I should have done my research. I didn't even think to do that because I'm not that guy. He asked me to come and do the show. I did it. But this is a guy that's attacking me for being an incel. This is the guy that's telling me, well, you're just a dinosaur, huh? Okay, what are you, buddy? What are you, a cuck? I mean, I had his number. I said, it's Chads and incels that know what women are. It's beta male orbiters like you that don't seem to get it. He's on his second marriage. He's getting cucked by his wife. It's insane. No wonder. So typical. Some big, fat, old white guy who's a total pussy-worshipping simp, and his wife is out there publicly humiliating him in front of God and everybody in the whole world. And he's going to go on TV and give me his position on women? Who would be listening to you? Do you think any man wants to be in your position? Absolutely not. Do you think young men?
There's certainly no young man that I know of that would want to be in his position, talking about Piers.
Would take advice from you about women? Why? So we could be humiliated? Are you kidding me? People would rather be a 27-year-old virgin than be 60 years old on your second marriage, getting ritualistically humiliated by your wife, talking about cheating on you with every and any man that she meets. Obviously. That's why the young people are finished. Because we look at the boomers and say, F that. I can't speak from experience because this is not the case with my parents, but I know for a fact a lot of the young men resent the older generation because this is the structure. All of the young men, their dads are all weak. You know, my dad is a tough guy. He was like a street tough in the old days, and he's ethnic. You know, he's Mexican.
My dad is like, I mean, you know, he has his advantages and disadvantages too. He's, by Nick's his standard, he was pretty strong, but you know, he just had a lot of issues, and he would take them out on people that had nothing to do with it. That's the best way I could make it. So this is a form of weakness I would consider, but you know, he was not weak in what he's talking about. But still, like the boomers in general, they're a weaker generation. Like in general, you know, you can say what you want to say about them, even the good ones. You know, I'm just unfortunately I was dealt such a bad hand. But hey, let's keep watching a little bit until I get even more tired.
And he's half Mexican. His dad was like a drug addict, okay? He's from the streets. He's an OG. It is the story of most of these Gen Z guys, and even Gen Alpha now too. Their parents are Gen Xers, millennials, and they're total pussies. And where a lot of the resentment comes from is the young men look at their dads as these like weak, emasculated, soft-spoken. They're not men. And they see the way their mothers walk all over their dad. And that's where the resentment comes from. That's true in a lot of cases. You know, it's not to say that these young guys, I'm sure they love their parents, but that is the arrangement because that is the mantra of these older generations. You know, in the old days, the men were men. They were dangerous. The boomers, the silent generation, the greatest generation, they would beat their wives. And I'm not saying I support that, but like they were dangerous. They were men. They were violent. They were volatile. They drank, smoked. They fought in wars. So yeah, they were straight up beasts. That's how the older generation was. And the wives were afraid of the men. Then it got inverted. And now all these guys that went to college and then got married, they're totally emasculated. And they lived through that. And now they split the chores and they defer to their wives. And the mantra's happy wife, happy life. And they're like these grinning doofuses suppressing any kind of masculine impulse. And that's where a lot of the resentment comes from. And I don't know anything about Piers Morgan. I only remember him from The Celebrity Apprentice. I don't know that much about him. But now knowing that that explains literally everything. Because that's the part that he really got mad about. Like, when he got pressed at the end, it was about the women stuff. At the end of it, he's like, so you're just a real misogynist, aren't you? Oh, very good. So you're just he actually got mad because he is just, like, ideologically a pussy-worshipping simp. In any such cases, I should have known. I clocked him. So anyway.
Man, I love Nick, but I'm getting tired. You know, he's such a funny guy. He kind of reminds me by kind of friends that I used to hang out with when I was in college. We used to debate all the time. The buddy that I had, he passed away. I had my two best buddies from college. They passed away. I don't know why, man, but my life has been a series of bad lucks. But yeah, I'm just tired. Even though I enjoyed him talking. So, if you're interested in more of that, just let me know. And stay strong and don't budge.